can't fight yourself. Internal conflict causes so much resistance.
Yeah.
And if you're having that battle internally, what signal are you sending out to the universe? Most manifestation advice would say decide what you want.
Decide what you want.
Decide what you want, set a goal. I think it starts before that. First, be tuned in with your body, and you have to be tuned in with your identity. The thing that underlies all manifestation is your relationship with yourself and your relationship with something greater than you. Because it feels like a lot of pressure to just believe that I'm gonna be a multi-millionaire, stay in that every day, all day, and just, you know, act as if I am already.
You're finding that clients are also coming to you now because they want to get the best of their love life.
Your partners and every single relationship in your life is a mirror of you. So you have to be what you want to attract.
So then how would one sort of begin their journey into learning about manifestation?
In order to manifest, you need...
What is manifestation?
It's pretty simple. It's creating the reality that you want to live in.
Creating the reality that you want to live in. And some people say, you know, like, is it dreaming? Is it hoping? Is it like wishing or wanting? I guess in terms of definition, that sometimes people get it wrong in terms of manifestation.
I like to say that there's no wrong way to manifest. And to be honest, my definition was a little bit short of what the truth is, because manifestation is always happening. You're always creating your own reality. And sometimes you're doing it, it's not what you want to be living in, right? Like a lot of people are not happy with their lives.
Right.
And I don't believe that we can like attract bad things to us by having negative thoughts. Like that's not the, mindset that I'm of in manifestation.
Right.
But manifesting, you can't do it wrong. It's either you're doing it intentionally and it's working well for you, or there's some adjustments and you need to learn from it. It's giving you feedback. But I don't like that idea that you can manifest bad things or that you can do it wrong. There's a way that works for one person and maybe it doesn't work the same way for the next person.
So the intention is what's really important behind manifesting.
Absolutely.
Yes. So most of our listeners again are like early stage entrepreneurs, and I'm sure their intention is like always good, like I want to finally like try for my dreams, or also like make enough so that I can provide for my family, trips, and especially for me with the kids too. And is manifestation, do you think, a skill that entrepreneurs should be aware to like acquire?
Absolutely. I think if you listen to the stories of so many successful people, they credit some form of manifestation practice for their success. So I would say 1,000% yes.
So then how would one sort of begin their journey into learning about manifestation? And I know you're a manifestation coach, so maybe could you also shed some light if somebody comes to you who has no idea about what manifestation is, but they know that whoever's working with you are getting the results. So maybe like the starters, what would you say to them? Yeah,
for sure. I always start before 2 steps before most manifestation advice gets you to start.
Oh, interesting.
So most manifestation advice would say decide what you want.
Decide what you want.
Decide what you want.
Decide what you want.
Decide what you want. Set a goal. I think it starts before that. So you need to first be tuned in with your body. And I talk a lot about the nervous system.
Okay.
And you have to be tuned in with your identity. So those 2 things kind of have to happen first, because the way that I speak about manifestation is that the thing that underlies all manifestation is your relationship with yourself and your relationship with something greater than you. So your identity is a very big part of that, and your wiring and your hardware, right? So your body, your nervous system has to be online. Let's just call it, right?
Wow, that's great.
Because if you have a dysregulated nervous system and you're stuck in your head, right? Like a lot of people are really detached from their bodies. you are disconnected from your greatest source of wisdom, right? Which is coming from your heart, your soul, your inner voice,
right?
Which is what you need to take the aligned actions required of making your manifestation come true or attracting it to yourself. Because like the energy that radiates from your body, the biggest magnetic field comes from your heart. So if you're just trying to manifest by visualizing and trying to force yourself to feel something, but you have this disconnection between your mind and your body, it's not going to work out. And I use an analogy that it's like trying to charge your iPhone with a frayed cable.
Oh, right? That's a good one.
So it's not going to work properly, right? So we have to tune into our body. We have to, have a connection to ourselves and, regulate our nervous system on the regular. I say it's like going to the gym. You don't just achieve a state of regulation, right? It's like a muscle. We have to build up the strength, and it's called, a window of tolerance, where window of tolerance is where you're able to be regulated. And, if you get pushed outside of that window, and some people have a smaller window of tolerance, so they get pushed outside of it, they'll go into anxiety, spiraling, overthinking, or they'll go into a shutdown, freeze state, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you are building your life where, I don't know, you have a yoga practice or you have a meditation practice, or you get out into nature and you go for nice walks, like you have all these different things, maybe you do breath work, you have all these things built into your life and you increase that window of tolerance. There's other ways to address it too, right? Like if you have a lot of, trauma in your past, addressing the trauma, just letting your body get back to full functioning mode and closing any, open loops that are running, and allowing yourself to be in a calm state where you can access gratitude more easily, where you can feel gratitude more easily, where you can feel abundance, because it's very difficult to feel abundant when you're in that fight, flight, freeze state, and so many of us are chronically stuck in it, right? So that's where I start. And then with identity as well. So who are you? It's a really big question. And we spend our whole lives trying to answer it, I would say.
Yeah, that's true.
But I break it down for people so that it's easier to kind of approach this. Who's this? Who am I? Who are you? This question. So I speak of 3 different levels of identity.
Okay.
The human level, which is as you would think, right? Like, all of the things that you pick up in this lifetime, your personality, your coping mechanisms, and that version of you deserves a lot of compassion, right? Then there's the source level, which is like your soul, basically. Source self, and the vortex self, I call it, which is like your next level identity of potential and possibility. So I teach my students to get in touch with each of these 3 levels and have regular ways of doing that, practices. So the source self, for example, you could be getting in touch with that side of you through, again, nature walks, let's just say, or grounding, barefoot in the grass, like, connecting to something bigger than you that makes you remember the magic you have, the creative power, the co-creative power that you have. It also relieves stress and also, the nervous system aspect. And when you have that, you feel like the weight of the world is not always on your shoulders, because you realize that you're not doing this alone, that there's bigger powers at play that are, the universe has your back kind of thing.
We're only like 5 minutes in, but that in itself it already gives such a good framework to approach questions about asking yourself, like, where am I in this stage of regulating the nervous system, also finding the identity of who I am. This is amazing. I'm curious. I've heard recently that the word search on Google for the word manifestation is going up. It's like a trend that's going up.
Big time.
Why do you think that is the case? And do we need a lot more awareness around like coaching people? It's like, hey, no, what you're dealing through is not normal. That's a spiral downward thinking. It doesn't go anywhere. So yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on
why do I think it's trending up?
Yeah.
I think it's trending up for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's becoming a lot more acceptable societally to discuss, you know, things that were considered like too woo-woo before.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more actual scientific evidence to support the validity of it.
Yeah.
Like if you actually look at manifestation from a neuroscience perspective and the parts of the brain that are activated when we're doing these different things like visualization and, you know, repeatedly pairing positive emotion with an outcome that we desire. All of it from a neuroscience perspective is very, very highly supported that is effective in achieving goals.
Yeah.
And people who do these things meet their goals at a much higher rate than people who just do it by sheer will. Right?
That's good. That's so good. And one of the things I talk about in my podcast with other people is like growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, there's like the social promise that we've gone through. Like, oh, you got to go through school, go through the system, get educated, you know, find a job, get married, et cetera, et cetera. And the more, the checklist. But the more you go through it, you start to realize like, wait a minute, this social promise, it's not going to guarantee me a house or all that stuff. And so I do believe that trend of why people are searching for more of manifestation is like they're fighting for themselves and realizing
they want to be fulfilled.
Yeah, they want to be fulfilled, but they can take control of their own destiny rather than having the social promise tell us.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm curious to hear in your journey as you're starting manifestation. Can you tell me about a time when manifestation hasn't worked out? So like you're thinking it through, you're deciding it, and from that, maybe you've learned like, oh, it revealed a blind spot. So maybe a small story of like that I can share with this is like with the podcast. I also hired a coach. I've paid like 5 figures for the year, and I thought I wanted to start this, and you know, I got his checklist gear and I just purchased it, but I realized I only learned how to build a bridge only like 8 out of 10. And so I was always missing that 2 gaps. And it was until I set it up and I went through it for 6 months on, I realized something's not clicking and something's not working. I'm wondering if you also had that sort of situation too with this journey of manifestation.
Yeah, I would say so in a pretty big way. I was in a marriage previously. And, you know, like you said, like a lot of the boxes were checked and I was building my business and everything was, you know, going along. And I kept thinking about how I wanted to feel. And I also, at that time in life, this is quite a few years ago at this point, let's say like 4 years ago, I started to realize that I was really dysregulated in my nervous system because I grew up with a lot of chaos in my life. And I was really like, almost like, you know, you look and you see yourself from a bird's eye view and you're like, oh, this is how I'm acting. And this doesn't match up with who I want to be. Right. And then looking at my whole life and I started to regulate myself, I realized that I had to change my whole life because that was not supportive of who I wanted to be. The relationship, as I spent about 5 years trying to repair the relationship and trying to really make it work. And it was a very difficult decision to end it. But especially having kids, is, you know, you could imagine.
It's not easy, right?
But I realized that relationship was not allowing me to be the person I wanted to be. As much as I was trying, you know, to change myself even to make it work, that had to completely dissolve and unravel in order for me to fully step into the person that I wanted to be. And that's why I say identity is so important, because if something is not clicking behind the scenes with who you are, and it's not authentic, if there's something that's preventing the authenticity of you, it's not going to work. And if it does work, like we'll say air quotes work,
yeah,
you're not going to feel how you wanted to feel when you get the thing. Right. So yeah, I would say that was the biggest thing. And then I had to do all of this unraveling and like unbecoming, let's just say, to then go back forward and do all of the things that I was doing before, but now feeling how I want to feel and being who I want to be.
Thank you for sharing that. And I'm curious, you were mentioning the third bird's eye point of view, third point of view. Were you in a stage of like meditating when you were in that? Did you know about manifestation at that point? Or?
Oh yeah, I've known about manifestation for a very long time. My dad actually was a big, power of positive thinking guy. So he introduced me to a lot of the, big names in manifestation and stuff like that. But at that point, I was just doing a lot of self-reflecting.
Yeah.
I've been into personal development since I was a teenager, but you go through different stages of self-awareness, right? Like first you think like, well, my approach was very checklist, like, I got to read the books and I got to listen to the podcasts and I got to go to therapy. And then I made it my entire identity was self-help. And I was treating myself like I call it DIY fix-it project.
DIY, that's good. That's funny.
Right?
Yeah.
So I moved into a new stage of like, hey, you actually need to accept yourself. You actually can't just constantly be trying to fix yourself like you're a problem.
Yeah.
Right? And so when I shifted that, it didn't remove any of my self-responsibility, but it shifted the energy to a place of wholeness rather than a place of lack.
Wow.
Right? And so then it was, how can I approach this in a more loving way towards myself? And when I realized all of those, things about like the nervous system, I was like, I need to nurture myself. And I started to learn more about like mindful self-compassion. And this really, really shaped my journey and how I teach manifestation as well, because I feel like it's easy to become a perfectionist with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I call myself a recovering perfectionist. Yeah. So that was the shift that happened at that point in my life where I moved into self-compassion practices, self-acceptance practices, and really realized how powerful that is, because you can't fight yourself. You can't. Because it's internal conflict. It causes so much resistance.
Yeah.
And if you're having that battle internally, what signal are you sending out to the universe? So you have to come from a place of, non-attachment, non-resistance. And I find that the antidote to resistance really is a hearty dose of compassion.
Do you think that is that step? Like, is that the right steps to take? So when you first sort of go through the thick of it, or do you have any phrases you say to yourself, or like, should I meditate in order to? I think the question is.
I think I can bring it down for you.
Yeah.
Because this is my sort of mission, is to make lofty concepts digestible and tangible.
Yes.
So with self-compassion, there's a whole practice is called specifically mindful self-compassion.
Mindful self-compassion.
And it's created by Dr. Kristen Neff. And I think his name is Stephen Garner or Garmer. I always mess up the last name. But there's 3 components to it.
Yeah.
There's mindfulness.
Right.
So cultivating mindfulness, which is not over-identifying with or sweeping under the rug.
That's good, yeah.
The experiences you're having, or the truth, or your feelings, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Then there's common humanity. So mindfulness, common humanity.
Yep.
And common humanity is recognizing that you are not alone in your struggles, that this is normal.
Right.
Everybody is experiencing hardship and struggles, and you're never alone in it. And then the third is loving kindness. which most people would probably just automatically jump to and think that that's what self-compassion is.
That's
right?
what I was gonna
Loving
think.
kindness.
Yeah.
So speaking, being a friend to yourself and having your own best interest, right? And then there's another layer to it that I really think is important to add, because there's yin and there's yang self-compassion as well. So what that means is yin would be like, you know, your internal mother, that like loving kindness, that soft, feminine, you know, nurturing that we all need. And then there's the yang self-compassion, which is fierce self-compassion, which is like the internal father, the stern but loving, kind. Okay, let's look at your habits, discipline, you know, all of these persistence. Like let's look at things from a more masculine perspective and say, are your habits supportive of your best interest? Are your habits in your best interest? And you look at things from that angle too. So I think with those, the three aspects, the three parts of self-compassion, and then realizing that there's the yin and the yang of it, you can say, okay, how do I rack up on each of these areas in my relationship with myself? And there's practices. One that's probably the most famous is called RAIN, RAIN. And it stands for recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture.
That's so good.
You can take yourself through that exercise at any time if you're experiencing, you know, a negative emotion, or you're being hard on yourself, or there's a situation going on that's not favorable. You can just run it through and go, okay, I recognize what I'm feeling. I recognize I feel like a tightness in my chest. You can take it into the body. You can name it to tame it, they say. So like name the emotion, name where you're feeling it, allow it. So non-judgment, mindfulness, just like, okay, this exists. It's real. Investigate the stories that you're telling yourself, or the fears that are, you know, making it continue or feeding it. And then nurture, which is, what do I need? That's a good question. The most self-compassionate question that exists. What do I need?
Wow. Another question that I had related to this was like the connection to the source, because sometimes I think there's two types of source that people can think about. It's out of like love, God, universe, however you want to name it, the abundance, and then the other source could be, and I had a share of my journey in that too, like the darkness, like out of unfulfillment, out of lack, and because you're saying like, oh, I'm bitter about XYZ, therefore I'm going to act this way. In your experience, like, is there a difference of manifestation between being purely connected to like the good source, like God and abundance, versus like people that are manifesting, like, can you manifest from the dark?
Sure. I mean, sure you can. You can manifest from any level, I would say. But my opinion on that is that I don't believe in evil. I, as a source, let's just put it. I believe that the only darkness is simply an absence of light, right? So shame. Let's look at shame, right? They call it like the swampland of the human soul or something like that, I've heard. And it's one of the darkest emotions that exist. But the only way that shame can exist is in silence and in the dark, because it's a very isolating emotion. And when we start to talk about shame and we start to share with other people our fears and shortcomings, perceived shortcomings, we start to alleviate the shame almost immediately. Right. So my belief is the darkness really is just an absence of love. And there's something we need, right? There's a need that's being that's not being met.
Yeah.
Right. And so if the need is not being met, our brains and our hearts put together, because that's where the pain is coming from, will collaborate to try to meet the need in a really ineffective way. Right? Because it's not going to give you what you want. You're never going to feel the way you want to feel when you are manifesting from that place.
Right.
You're only going to get more of that, right? What we focus on expands.
Right.
So like if you're manifesting from revenge or something like that,
anger,
sorry, but it's just not going to feel how you want it to. It may for like a second feel good, like that like moment of gratification, like, I showed you.
Yeah.
And sometimes that energy can be really powerful, right? That, like, I'll show you energy.
That's right.
But it has to come from a place of like, I'm actually doing this for my heart. Like I do actually truly want this. And another thing I want to add, which takes us back a couple of steps with the identity pieces, I always tell people to go and do a values assessment.
Values assessment, yeah.
Yeah, because we want to be clear on our values. Our values are, I think it's the second most powerful driver, subconscious driver of success or outcomes in life.
Wow.
And so if you are clear about your values, then you can be doing check-ins like, hey, is this desire aligned with my values? Because if it's not, actually, you're going to sabotage it in one way or another, subconsciously. So it's a very powerful part of your identity to know what are my values. Yeah.
You know, I want, before we get into the actual, your coaching aspect of this, you mentioned before we began, you were getting into the love manifestation part of it.
Right.
Can we touch on like how that works and what got you excited about that portion?
Yeah, well, I've revealed the beginning half of my story about leaving the relationship, right? And I kind of had this like story in my head that, oh, you know, not everybody has like a movie worthy love story in this lifetime. Like that, maybe that's just not for me. This is what marriage is. It's compromise. It's, you know, this is, the grass isn't greener. You have to just water it where you are and deal with it, basically. And after I ended up coming to the decision and we parted ways, I was quite sure that now I was going to be able to have that movie worthy love. I was like, we're going to do this.
Nice.
And so I put everything that I've already just discussed with you to practice, because when we're manifesting love, your partners and every single relationship in your life is a mirror of you, right? Yeah. So you have to be what you want to attract, basically. If you want a healthy relationship, you better be healthy inside. Like yourself. You better be able to be good with you and be able to have healthy discussions and conflict resolution and kindness and all of those things. And that's all going to come from your relationship with yourself. Like I said at the beginning, all manifestation is underlined by your relationship with yourself, your relationship with source. So I had already done so much personal development work. When I first jumped into the dating world, which I hadn't dated basically as an adult. I had met my ex when I had just turned 19. Right. So it was like a whole new world for me, ball game. Stage. You know, it's like we're talking 13 years later.
That's right.
And I had a rough idea of what I wanted to, how I wanted to, who I wanted to meet.
Right.
You know, all of the above. Yeah. So how did I do that? Well, I made a list. It wasn't so much of a checklist, but it was an exercise in clarity. So I always say that clarity is not a destination you arrive at, but it's like a state of mind, essentially. So I made my list for that reason, like to be in the state of mind of like, I'm worthy of all of this.
Yeah.
And in my signature program, in the module that talks about desire and what we want, I have my clients do 111 desires list. And it's a really difficult thing. And I always get the same feedback when they get to that stage and they go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to write out 111 desires, because you get to a point and you're like, what else do I want?
What else do I want?
What else
it's
do
like
I
a
want?
good thing, but it's like, can I desire? Like I have a space for me to desire.
And then you start to have to look at it from different perspectives too, right? You're like, okay, this is the material stuff, but then, oh, what else? So I made my list. I had all the different categories of life. So it was like, professional, health, and like lifestyle, kids. Like I had all these different categories and I wrote out as many things as I could think of in each category. And then I put it away. I wasn't like reading that list every day or anything like that.
Are you?
Yeah, right? Swiping, checking. I wasn't doing that. But the main thing for me, okay, there's all these things that led up to it, right? Sure. The identity, the relationship with myself, self-worth is a really big thing for dating. Right. I actually just created a brand new freebie, which is a self-worth audit. So maybe we can link that.
Yeah, we'll look at, for
it's
sure.
specifically kind of, for love. Right?
Self-worth, that's so good.
Yeah, so all of these things. And then the next thing I did after I'm not saying that all that work was like check done, but the next stage is to decide how you want to feel in that relationship. How do you want that person to make you feel? Yeah. And so I was in that space a lot because it felt really good to me to be thinking about how I would feel in this relationship. And so I would go to bed at night imagining how it would feel to be in the arms of my partner going to sleep. Yeah. And that was so lovely. And the thing that I teach my clients about visualization and, feeling and things like that, don't do it as a means to an end. Oh. Do it because it feels good.
Interesting. Don't do it as a means to an end. Yeah.
Do it because the actual feelings you get from doing it are the gift, right? The actual visualization is pleasurable for you. Yeah. And you like doing that. Right. So that was for me. Like I wasn't like, okay, I need to manifest this person tomorrow. Yeah. But it kind of happened that way, to be honest, because I matched with my now partner of 2 years the weekend I moved out of the marital home. We didn't meet right away. Yeah. Because I was, not ready really. Right. I needed some time. We met 6 months later. Yeah. But we matched and had connected and stayed, loosely connected during that time, had some good conversations and whatnot. But imagine how fast that was.
Yeah, for some, you're right. Like
it was crazy. And I had seen a psychic actually in the summertime after I had moved out. It was a few months after. And the psychic had said to me, like, yes, your person is there, but you guys are both kind of just dealing with your own stuff right now. And when the moment is right, you'll connect. And then that's what happened. We met in September after the summer was over, and it was a done deal from that point.
And so you think this framework of listing your desires and also thinking about how you would want to feel, not just for the end part of it, but as a process to enjoy the present gift, you're finding that clients are also coming to you now because they want to enhance and get the best of their love life.
Yeah, for sure. And like all of it really comes back to what's your relationship with yourself like, right? Like, are you acting like you're worth it? Are you showing up like you're worth it? And my clients are female.
Yeah.
So a lot of what happens is, there's a lot of terminology like the breadcrumbing, like allowing men to just give you crumbs when you deserve the whole cake and that kind of stuff, right? So like raising your standards, becoming a high value partner yourself. And then you have no interest or tolerance for anything less than that. Yeah. And wherever you're manifesting, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's whatever, it's all the same principle, right? It's like you have to be open to receive whatever it is that you want. And in order to do that, you have to believe that it's possible for you and that you're worthy of it, right? So I always say there's only 3 ingredients required of manifestation. Desire, belief, and non-attachment. So that's why I say when you visualize, don't do it as a means to an end, because that's attachment.
Yeah.
And I'm very low pressure with all of this stuff because again, recovering perfectionist.
Yeah.
So I always also like to add to that, we can't flip a switch on any of these things and force ourselves to believe.
That's so good.
And force ourselves to detach, right? I always say you have to nurture the willingness to believe, nurture the willingness to detach. Yeah. And there's different ways about that, right? There's different ways you can do that. With belief, you stack your proof, right? Yeah. You focus on the wins. You celebrate the wins. It's have you heard of the gap and the gain?
Gap and the Gain? Yeah. Love that book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you don't live in the gap between where you are and where you want to go. You live in the gain from how far you've come, right? Yeah. So that kind of stuff can shift with the belief. And then with the non-attachment, it's really living more in the present moment with gratitude and presence and asking yourself the question, like, what do I need? But then another question on top of that is, this is like one of my signature questions I get my clients to ask themselves, what would feel juicy and delicious for you right now? So making your life feel right now more juicy and delicious, whatever that means for you.
That's such a good question. Yeah. How about when it comes to talking about money, do you also find that your clients or maybe your experience, there has to be a intentional talk about money? Because, for example, I recently shared on my podcast with my wife, and I was reading upon Lewis's House book about Make Money Easy. And one of the questions was like, hey, if money walked into the room, how would you naturally respond to it? For me, never having done this exercise, I actually naturally scolded, because what I come to realize and sort of like reveal about how I was thinking about money was like, I didn't trust money. Hence that was a natural reaction. When I asked my wife, like, what is your reaction if money came into the room? And
that's such a good question.
Yeah, and for her, she was like, it's like seeing an old friend. It's like, hey, welcome. And I'm like, what the heck? I could never think about.
Did that match up with how you both relate to money? Like, did it, the way you answered that question, was it, on point with your relationships with money?
Yes, it was, because when we discussed that actually a couple of weeks ago, we were now at a point in our life where I left my 9-to-5, but I was trying to, I was hustling and grinding because I wanted to not miss out on the real estate opportunity, like when COVID was going crazy. And I realized like my wife didn't even want me to buy these houses and do these fix and flips. It was just all me thinking that it's beneficial for us. But at that point, for her, as a friendly, welcoming money person, she was like, yeah, it feels like the friend is here for like 10 seconds and out the door because we have to pay the bills. That's how she felt. But for me, because I was constantly chasing that next leverage of, whoever's going to lend me, whatever terms, I would be focused on just looking at that rather than growing my relationship with my wife and trying to grow a family here.
Right.
And so I was missing out on the family aspect, which is the beautiful thing that I have, versus like trying to focus on that. So you're
deferring that.
Exactly. Deferring that to the gap, like in the horizon, which I will never get to.
Right.
But you're exactly right. It's exactly how we viewed money, and that's exactly how it showed up in our life.
Yeah. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day, which is a Kabbalah podcast.
Okay. Never heard of that one, but yeah.
Yeah. So Kabbalah is like Jewish mysticism, essentially.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about manifestation. And he said something, I was like, oh, that is so on point. That in order to manifest, you need unity. I never heard anyone say that before, but what he meant was you need connection, moments of connection. And it makes so much sense because you need to be, like I say, connected to yourself and connected to source. And how can you feel more connected? Because when you feel connected, you feel whole, you feel unity, right?
Yeah.
You feel closer to God, creator, whatever. And that really does come through connecting to other people. Right?
Yeah.
Like he was telling the story about, you know, how he felt like he had to get out and record his podcast and do this and this and that because he's a big name. Yeah. And his son just wanted him to watch Peppa Pig with him. Right?
Yeah.
And he realized that God's work in that moment was to sit with his son and connect with his son. Yeah. To create more unity and wholeness. So and he was explaining how connecting to your partner, your spouse, or connecting with your children, like your most immediate people in your life, creates a bigger impact in the world than anything else you could do, like donating millions of dollars to a hospital or whatever. If you took the time to connect with the people closest to you first, before doing anything else for the outside world, you would make a bigger impact.
That's so good.
And I believed in that. Yeah. Big time.
One of the people that come up immediately when you mention that, and I'm just going to be vulnerable, is my parents. And my parents are the people, you know, it's like talking to myself, which is a bit of a love and hate relationships. And I find if I want to approach this conversation with my parents, or at least try to think of, you could already see like my head is already spinning wheels. And so
a lot of complexities in our relationship with our parents.
I think maybe I'll visit on a different day, but how would, if I'd be vulnerable with you right now and say, you know, I think if I actually, let me not use that word repair, but if I open myself up with how I feel about my parents, I think another part of me will really unlock, but I've been really gatekeeping this for myself. But exactly to your point about unity, what do you think I can do here in this moment in terms of like how I think about my parents? And
well, I don't know anything about your relationship with your parents.
You're right,
yeah. But one of the modules in my signature course, we go into resistance, which is the killer of all manifestation, right?
Oh, okay.
That's my line that everyone needs to remember and write down. Resistance is the killer of all manifestation. One of the forms of resistance that I list, and like the biggest ones is, and I don't know if this is even a word, but let's say unforgiveness.
Unforgiveness. Yeah. Okay.
So if you have complexities in a relationship with somebody, we have to use the power of forgiveness to wash away and cleanse and come back to, you know, compassion again. And just like, how can we accept the other people? 'Cause I had a really complex relationship with my mom before she passed away a couple of years ago. And I had to forgive her for a lot of things. And I also say we can't flip a switch and forgive, right?
Yeah,
like we
it's
can't,
not just like, I forgive you.
No, it's not. I think it's layers of forgiveness, right? Yeah. So it's like an onion. We peel back layers of forgiveness and we go deeper and deeper. And so part of that is like, okay, who are 5 people in my life that I haven't forgiven? Or who am I still holding grudges for? Because we need to clear that energy out because it's not serving us. It's not serving them. And it doesn't mean that, you know, oh, they don't deserve to be forgiven or whatever. Like, I don't know what your relationship is with your parents, but I just know this comes up for a lot of people. So it's why I address it. And there's a very simple Hawaiian forgiveness prayer called Ho'oponopono that I use all the time. It's just Thank you. I love you. I forgive you. I'm sorry. So you can elaborate on each of those. And I think I always say them in the wrong order, but it's those 4. So I don't know exactly what the order is supposed to be and or if it even matters. But thank you. I love you. I forgive you. I'm sorry. Because yes, sure. Some things are not acceptable behaviors, right? If somebody's doing something to you, but you can't change other people.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can choose to set boundaries, right? Yeah. We have to understand boundaries big time. And we also have to know who we're working with.
That's right.
Right? And we have to make choices. We're like, how much of myself am I safe to give this person?
Right.
Right? And you can't force yourself to just completely be open and like go full in, open-hearted and whatever.
Yeah.
You have to nurture yourself, take care of yourself, make sure you're safe, and then, gauge it.
Yeah.
Right? Gauge it. But what I experienced with my mom was that I had to stop trying to make the relationship into what I hoped it would have been. Right? Yeah. And I had to realize that I had to grieve and process the relationship I didn't get with her. Forgive.
Yeah.
And then look and go, what is here? What is here?
Right.
What is good? What can I build on? And that's how I approached my relationship with her in the final year of her life, which was the best year that her and I had in our relationship that I could ever remember.
Yeah.
And it was after not speaking to her for a couple of years. So she had gotten back in touch with me.
Right.
I think it was like 2 years that we didn't speak. And I just had gone through a lot of this work that I was doing on myself at the time. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to approach it this way this time. And that's how it went. It went very well. I can't say it wasn't frustrating still at times. Where, I would get into a conversation with her and, I'd be like, oh, okay, here's this pattern again.
Yeah, the pattern that's been showing up all your life.
Here's this pattern again. And then I'm like, okay, how do I want to, am I going to get mad? Yeah. Am I going to take the bait?
Yeah.
Or am I just going to go, okay, we're going to set a boundary right now. Mom, love you so much.
Yeah.
But I'd prefer to switch the topic of conversation. And if we're not able to do that, then I'm going to have to talk to you later.
Wow. You said that. Wow.
Yeah. That's boundary setting, right? Like it's tough to do that. Right. But I had to do it for myself because I didn't want to be codependent with her, which is like, trying to control the outcome of her experience or her behavior or whatever. I had to learn a lot about codependency.
Yeah.
So as a manifestation coach, I teach a lot of concepts that most manifestation coaches don't. Right? Yeah. Because there's so much that goes into your identity and your relationship with yourself and your relationship with other people, which determines your reality.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to understand relationships if you want to understand like manifestation.
And when you said that to your mom during the conversation, how did she react? And maybe it was multiple conversations.
Yeah. She respected it for the most part. She would still she would be like, okay, fine. And then But because she treasured my relationship with her at that point, because she knew that in the past I had stopped talking to her.
Oh, as a way,
In the past, I had to protect my peace to the point where she was. She was a lot at times. Right. Love her, God rest her soul. Yeah. But she knew that hey, if you don't play within my boundaries, that I'm going to set a harder one. And it's not that I was threatening her or anything like that. I was like, look, I would love to continue speaking with you. Can you tell me about this? What's going on in your world in regard to that? Or just even if you don't have to verbalize the boundary exactly as clear cut as I did. Because for some people, they're not going to react well to that. Right? Some people are going to be like, what? You think you can control this conversation like that? Or whatever they're going to be. Just change the topic.
Yeah.
Or at some point later on, be like, hey, can we not talk about that thing anymore? Like, I notice it never goes well when we talk about this. Exactly. So like, why don't we just do ourselves both a favor and stay away from that, you know? So when it's not a hot button moment.
Right. I think that's so good, especially as a parent, and maybe you can relate too. Like, I've recently come to realize that my son, James, his important thing is space. So like, and we learned it through like a book in our small group at church. We're just learning about relationship with our partners. But I realized like, oh, James needs space and he's an orderly guy. Whereas me is just like a commando. It's like, if I need you to wash and like go to sleep, we got to do it by 8:30. We got to go. And so I didn't actually give him space. But if I were to sort of imagine in the future, James would have the same conversation with me and say, hey, Dad, love you, but can we not talk about this now, or whatever, like however you phrase it so beautifully. I think I would be remembering this moment where I learned, oh, James does need space and boundary. And I would actually respect and actually do the homework of reframing of how I can best approach the conversations if I still want to have that. Because I think I'm not perfect too. And I'm sure I would rub my kids the wrong way in the ways when I talk about whatever in the future too.
So difficult to be a parent.
Yeah.
And you remember that too when you become one, you're like, oh, this is hard.
Yeah. And another thing about now flipping that parallel to my mom and my dad, it's like, I heard another person say it's their first time being a parent too. It's like, it's her first time being a mom too, or dad too. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so true. And I think learning how to communicate your boundaries, my boundaries to my parents, which I haven't done, I think that'll be a challenge. But going back to exactly what you said about a restriction, like when you feel restrictive, and the word unforgiveness, as you're mentioning, like learning how to forgive, it's not that I wanted them to be that perfect or whatever. It's just trying to open that conversation of letting them know, hey, I wanted this. Yeah. And I just wish we could have talked about it at least. But when you mentioned the word forgiveness, my shoulder went, you probably could not see it in the podcast, but my shoulder went down because like you helped me unlock
It's a relief.
Yes, you helped me relieve that.
Anytime you feel relief, you're moving in the right direction.
So yeah, in that conversation, you helped me at least see the piece that I needed. So thank you for doing that.
My pleasure.
As we land the plane here, and I guess we can bring you on a different episode because I think the conversation is so good. I'm learning so much from it.
Yay.
Some people, if they were to think about coaching or hiring you as a coach, I think some of the things that they might skeptically say is like, well, is it just about learning to manifest and like me being lazy and like not be proactive? I think I wrote the question like, how do you coach someone to believe in energetic alignment without becoming delusional about the effort and the execution?
Oh my.
Because some people say, as you say, the woo-woo. It's like, oh, it's just about, I'm going to think about it. It's going to happen. Here we go.
I don't know if the people on this podcast are like, into astrology, and I'm not that big into astrology, but if it means anything to anybody, I have 5 Capricorn placements in my chart.
Okay.
So if anyone knows anything about Capricorns, we're hard workers.
Oh, okay.
We're very hard workers. And I do not believe that manifestation is just laying back and waiting for a magic man in the sky to grant our wishes. That's not alignment, right? It's a co-creative process, which means it really requires your involvement, right? You need to take actions. You need to be showing up as the person who has that thing. Do you think that there's any, billionaire, successful, founder or whatever who didn't work hard to get there? I mean, maybe the work felt really good to them. It lit them up. They were excited by it, but they definitely worked. Right. And so when people are skeptical about manifestation and my coaching and this and that, it's like, it's funny when sometimes I have conversations in the DMs with people and they're like, I don't believe in manifestation. I'm not manifesting anything right now. I always ask them, I was like, but do you have goals?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, of course I have goals. I'm like, well, then how would you not believe in manifestation? Like, do you want to achieve those goals and feel good?
It's like, yes.
So yeah, then you do manifest. You just don't want to call it that because you have a lot of negative stigma around it, which I understand.
Yeah.
And part of what I do is to try to rebrand manifestation actually, because if you look at the conversation we've had here, it doesn't really, I don't know, have you seen the movie or read the book, The Secret?
The Secret? No, I don't think I have.
Okay. Well, it's like the big one that a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
And I would ask you if you had, does this conversation sound much like The Secret? And you would probably be like, no, not really, sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
Because there's so much context missing from most manifestation advice. It's just like, oh, be in the belief, be in the state of the wish fulfilled, which is true.
Yeah.
But how do we get there?
Yeah.
How do we get to a place? Because it feels like a lot of pressure to just believe that I'm going to be a multi-millionaire and stay in that every day, all day, and just, you know, act as if I am already and spend as if I am already. And there's all this advice, right? But there's so much that goes into that because it all comes back to your relationship with yourself, right? So we need to understand so many aspects about us, about humans, about psychology. You know, why am I behaving this way? Why do I keep doing this one thing that I know is not good for me?
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it, even though I'm aware of it. Right. And I'm like, oh, damn, I just did that thing again. Yeah. Right? So people can be skeptical all they want, but they know they're doing those things. Yeah. And how are they going to stop if they don't have someone to go
coach them?
Yeah, this is what we're going to do instead, okay? We're going to hold you accountable to your higher self.
Right.
And we're going to match up your behavior with that without sliding into forcing, pushing perfectionism.
That's so good. So you coach female, do they have to be entrepreneurs or?
Not necessarily, just really it's high achieving women for the most part. Okay,
so if you're a high achieving woman looking at this or hearing this conversation, definitely approach. Is there another group of people that you cater as like, these people I can definitely help? Yeah, who should approach you?
For my high level coaching, definitely I would say high achieving women, you know. Anybody can take my signature course, Manifest on Autopilot. I believe everyone probably truly inherently is a high achieving on the inside person. Maybe it's not their external reality yet.
That's true. That's good.
You know, there's plenty of women out there, housewives, and that's very high achieving position to be in. You know, stay-at-home moms. I did that myself for a while. It's, you know,
props to stay-at-home moms and stay-at-home dads too.
And stay-at-home dads too. Yeah. So really anybody can take, you know, my program. It's going to benefit anybody. But if we're looking at like high touch, high level, you know, coaching, it's going to be somebody who's like very goal oriented. Maybe they've, you know, done their checklist with the social promise and it didn't work out the way that they wanted it to. And they just want to feel like themselves. Like that's the big thing. I think they want to feel the freedom of knowing that they can be fully themselves, use their gifts to the highest extent and to feel freedom, freedom and fulfillment. Yeah. That's amazing. If you want that, because you're like, this is my one life, I want to get the most out of it I possibly can, then this is the work.
Thank you so much for this conversation. Where can people find you, Milli? And what exciting things are you working on now?
Yeah, Instagram is my jam. Milli Fox, Milli, no E. No Milli, Milli Fox, just at Milli Fox. And I mentioned to you that I'm working on like love, the love manifestation. So what I'm doing is I've created 3 new pathways inside of my main course. So this is a self-study course called Manifest on Autopilot. Yeah. It's basically all of this stuff that we've talked about.
How much is the course if people are interested?
The course is $777. Okay, $777 USD. Yeah. And it's self-study. So I've just added 3 new pathways. It's like a choose your own adventures sort of thing. So we have a love pathway. Yep. Next up, I'm going to be creating the money pathway and then the glow up pathway.
Not blow up.
Glow up. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So like,
Yeah. Love it.
Get hotter, get sexier, whatever. Like it's so you have your relationship with yourself essentially.
Right,
so we have money, love, and glow up pathways that I'm adding inside of the course so that you can get specific with, okay, well, this is the area I want to focus on. So we're going to take this ticket.
Nice.
And go.
So would they just DM you and then you'll set it up, or there'll be landing pages?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And then if you want to get into the self-worth audit, and I have a new, masterclass on manifesting love called The Missing Piece.
Right.
Those are both, free. You can just send me a DM and I'll get you set up with the links for those, or, maybe we'll put them in the show notes. Yeah, we'll put them
in the show notes or something like that. Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome. Any last words of encouragement for the people that are like, oh, Millie's speaking to me right now, and I'm just on the verge of like making a transition for that next thing that I've been desiring? Any word of encouragement that you have for those people?
Yeah. I would say just really focus on your relationship with yourself. I've hammered it so many times already, but you already know what you need. You already know what you need to do. You just need to get quiet enough to listen to it, and you need to trust yourself. We didn't talk about this, but self-trust is one of my favorite things to talk about because it's so under-discussed. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence, of belief, of, everything that you need to do what's required to become the person to have everything that you want, right? So you have to build that self-trust through keeping promises to yourself. You have to keep your word should be, like gold to yourself. Keep the promises that you make to yourself and take risks.
Yeah.
Because when you take risks, you do one of two things. You prove to yourself that you can do it.
Yeah.
You can take a bold action and either it will work out or B, that you're resilient, right?
Yeah.
And all of that builds self-trust in a massive way. And when you trust yourself, you're more trusting of the universe and you're just more generally able to be in that space of positivity, abundance, gratitude, again, all of it.
And then it'll not a spiral downward picture, but there's an ascension of
there you go.
Who you are becoming.
Exactly.
Oh, this is a fantastic conversation. I'm going to have you back again for round 2. But love it. Yeah. Thanks for being here for that.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.